Hello everybody, it's Steve. Welcome back to Sid Meier's Railroads. In the last video, we let that train pass. We completed the Northeast United States scenario. Now let's jump into the Midwest United States scenario. So this is one we already finished off. This one, I'll read it out if it's showing up a little too small on your screens. This scenario covers the Midwest United States, an area stretching from Chicago in the west to Pittsburgh in the east. It covers the time period 1840 to 1970. This scenario includes a number of difficult tasks to complete and is not recommended for beginners. So, by 1885, we're starting off in 1840, so we'll have 35 years to do this first mission. Recreate the railroad line of the same name by connecting Pittsburgh, which is here, Fort Wayne, which is roughly, I think, in this area in this map, and Chicago, right here. We have Detroit up here, this is Cleveland over here. Enter the steel market by building or purchasing a steel mill in Pittsburgh. Help build the world's first skyscrapers by delivering 25 carloads of steel from your factory in Pittsburgh. By 1935, cash in on the cow craze by building or purchasing a stockyard in Chicago. It's right here on the map again. Reinvest your profits back into yourself. Own at least 70% of your own stock. Leverage your position as a dominant meat supplier and ship 20 carloads of Chicago from Chicago to Cincinnati, Toronto, and Detroit. Cincinnati is going to be located down here. I believe this is Columbus. And this is Indianapolis. We're going to be going here as well. By 1970, we will need to change the way Americans move by building or purchasing an automobile factory in Detroit, by growing Indianapolis into a metropolis, and help the Indianapolis 500 organizers by transporting all 33 race cars from Detroit to Indianapolis. Let's go ahead and start this one up. I will let you know right now that this one, if you don't start off just right, you're up a creek. This one, if you want to make sure you get it done, you may have to, back out, reload, until you get the right one. So let's see if we can get it done on the first go here. Ooh, and we got a good starting point. We're starting off in Cleveland. This is a good start point, folks. It is 1840, and just 3 years have passed since the city of Chicago was incorporated. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, is already one of the most important cities in the East, supplying millions of bushels of coal each year. Though the future has vastly different fates planned for these two cities. For now, their destinies are bonded by coal and steel. So before I jump into it, I'm going to immediately drop down a pause. Let's zoom out a little bit. So we need to have a steel mill in Pittsburgh. The only thing we have in Pittsburgh is a newspaper. This is very good for us. I'm just going to see up here toward Erie, see if anything's popping up this way. Anything toward like State College, Altoona, Johnstown, nothing over here. There's nothing in this end of the map. Kind of sucks. Do we have Charleston, which will have automobiles here. So there's an automobile factory here. We can do a lot with that and by sending steel from Pittsburgh down this way. Columbus has a steel mill. We're not going to utilize it, though. All right, who is this? This is Jim Hill. He is starting off in Cincinnati. That's okay. We have Louisville down here. We have some beef companies in this area. Oh, wow, a lot of oil off to the west. Indianapolis. Okay, this is a starting point for J. Pierpont Morgan. You can see him over here. So we haven't seen Jay Gould just yet. We have some coal here. In fact, let's see. Okay. I'm focusing on the coal first because we need a steel mill. So I think what we may have to do is bring the train line around to Pittsburgh, bring it on this side of the tracks, and then run the line down here for the colliery to get the coal to run it back up for the steel mill. Then we can almost bring it back down to Charleston. Let's see, anybody need automobiles right now? There's a few people who need automobiles right now. Okay, automobiles only needed in Detroit. Detroit does not have the automobile manufacturing going right now. That's okay. Here's Toronto. Saginaw. It's a great word to say, Saginaw. If you haven't said it already, go ahead and throw it out there. Saginaw. And Chicago. We have a newspaper, we have a food plant, but I want to see where the livestock is. Livestock, not a great spawning for the livestock in this one. It's way down here in Louisville. It's south of the Ohio River. Now remember, the victory screen, we have to get a stockyard in Chicago. But it doesn't say we have to produce food from the stockyard. We could spend $500,000 to buy the stockyard just to complete this objective. And if we head back up to Chicago, it does have a food plant. And there is a large grain facility north of Chicago. We could use that to complete the objective as well. So we've got some coal around here. Most of our competitors are... Wait a minute. 1, 2... Where's the third asshole? Big Rapids... Let's go up into the glove of Missouri. Or Michigan. Let's get the right state here. Okay. Lexington. This is where Jay Gould's going to start. So Jay Gould will most likely connect to Charleston. He's going to have a run on beef early. Not sure who I'm going to be going for just yet, but I think my first move in this game will be to connect Pittsburgh, and we'll get a line going between the two cities. I can double up and link Detroit very early with a paper mill, because this does need paper, and there is some wood over here. I'm thinking about just going straight across, connecting up Fort Wayne. Just connect the major cities first. And then we'll do spur lines from there. So let's go ahead and schedule some tracks to be built. Let's start the game. I don't want to do tracks unless I don't want to do cuts unless I have to here. So we'll do this. Come on, bring it in without building a giant ass thing here. We'll bring it around like that. Immediately, let's get a train going. Just between the two. Get us a little bit of cash as we're going. Note the 402 Norris. This is a tiny-ass train. Once you get beyond one car, you start losing some of the ability of this train. And of course, the Grasshopper. This is like one of the first Iron Horses. So we'll go ahead and we'll hook up those two cities. But I'm already out of cash, so let's go ahead. Let's sell some of our merch. And we'll connect Fort Wayne up to already. I'll actually take my train line that I've got here. I'm going to add stops on it. Essentially, I just want it running back and forth. Okay. Morgan has already expanded out to Evansville. I want to get to Chicago before he does, for obvious reasons. If you're doing this scenario, and if you have picked up the game by now, first off, thank you. Charleston needs oil. Charleston is down here. Oil is pretty close by. We can make that work. So I can just hook that up very quickly, spur line it, and make that happen. Not going to do it right now, though. I want to make some cash up. Already got the 440 American, so that means we're in 1843, and our train's already set a speed record. Cool beans. Let's go ahead and set this on normal speed, actually, as I'm doing this. There aren't a lot of cities in this area, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to kind of keep building out that way right now. Just yet. Okay. No, Morgan's already connected to there, so it's imperative I get to Chicago this much faster. I'm also trying to limit the PF, W, and C line. New line puts AUG, JD, HE, and XO out of business. Sign makers stocks fall. Always a good one to poke fun at. So what I'll do from here is I'm going to create a spur line off of this guy. I don't have enough to get to it, but as soon as I do, I'll hook up the food plant, and I'll start creating food and bringing in some more money. So I need about 100,000 to get that going. Looking down here, Jim Hill has connected Lexington. Wow, both parties, actually. Okay, so Jay Gould has... Okay, we got this little cluster going down in this area. So both Gould and Hill have linked up over here. That's fine. What I don't understand is why they're taking a full load of passengers to a coal facility. Not my place to ask. But I'm pretty sure that folks do not want that tour. Go ahead and look that up. You don't have to get all the way, like, through the thing. Let's see, is there anything else up here? Yeah, there's nothing else stretching up into Wisconsin in this scenario. That's okay. So this line will just go back and forth. The food plant only costs $78,000, and since everybody's trying to get a bunch of stuff, I'm going to try to sneak this in under the radar. Damn you, Jay Gould, you bitch. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. Cool beans. I'm going to go ahead and load up all 8, and I'm going to keep it just having 8 cars at both of them. Now I'm going to make money coming and going from this. Let's go ahead and look at my report here for the victory. So we need the steel mill. All right, we need the stockyard. And we need to start moving food to Cincy, Toronto, and Detroit. I'm not hooked up to any of those cities yet. Let's go ahead and, now that I've connected the cities, I'm going to start making money on the Chicago run. And it just says, remember, 20 carloads of food, even though we're doing we're not doing meat right now. So to get the steel mill in Pittsburgh, I need $500,000. And then, perfect. So livestock prices are going to plummet at a perfect time because I'm not doing anything with them, even though there's a livestock facility right here. And it does hook up to Cleveland, so I could do Cleveland to livestock very easily, mind you. We've got that here. There's so many things I want to do with this game, and it is kind of exciting when you do a lot of this stuff in the game. I just want to keep everything moving and building and things like that. So to do a double route, which is what I'm doing here, I'm doing actually double trains all the way from Cleveland to Pittsburgh for the purposes of the steel focus. Now let's do this out to here. I'm going to upgrade this guy to a 440, and I'm also going to change his route up. So we're going to delete that one, go to Chicago, whoops, just delete the stop, there we go, Fort Wayne, Chicago, delete that here, there we go. Alright, so the routing on this one's going to change a little bit. This train will now go into Chicago, it's going to get some food, it's going to bring stuff back out. It's going to help these cities grow, it's a good thing. Alright, so oil can go to Charleston, so my plan is link up the coal and then bring it on into Charleston, so I have the automobile factory. And then I'll funnel off Charleston to the oil facility and start doing oil back and forth. Small train can do that job pretty effectively. Pittsburgh Beef Company can go up to Cleveland, start producing food, turn around, bring it into Pittsburgh. Good things happen with it. Right, so we're doing this here. We're going to build that annex. Don't have enough money for this one yet, but I'll go ahead and do this. Essentially, I'm just going to max out what I can get in Pittsburgh right now, or out of Cleveland. It's not going to be very effective for quite a while, so I'm not too worried about it. I am in the hole by just a little bit of money. Not bad. Jim Hill has gone all in, so let's see where he's going to connect to next. So he's doing a big route out of Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been his hub. He's got Louisville connected. And Jay Gould, like I mentioned, he's trying to run the cattle industry down here. Both the parties here want coal. That's interesting. Now, this train is not going to go very fast because of how I designed this little ramp up outside of Pittsburgh to get to Cleveland. So this one's going to take a while to get there. Uh-oh, we already got some murmurings of buyouts happening. Jay Gould is buying into Jim Hill. I'm guessing it's this guy. Because there's no way my Pittsburgh Flyer is going faster than that. And what I can do is actually add on food cars at Cleveland. So every time it goes through Cleveland, we'll pick up a little bit of food, give us a little bit of more money to work with. There you go. So it is going a whopping 2 miles an hour. Just because I was so cheap, I didn't want to build ramps or tunnels. Plus, once you get tunnels next to each other in the game, it's not really done well graphics-wise. I will admit that fault in the game. But it is kind of cool to see it. And right now, I'm just building the infrastructure to get myself in a position for victory. And when you do this, you'll probably do something very similar. And of course, you can do all of this while you're still making your moves and plotting your evil deeds. I'm out of money right now, which is fine. I'm fine. Alright, let's go ahead and do this. Let's drop it. Oh, I don't even have the money for a depot, but I can build an annex. Can't build an annex there, which is fine, because I'm not planning to build an annex here just yet. Essentially, it just happens to be going past this thing that I really, really want. Let's go ahead and build it anyway. I'm going to do this. We'll just do 4 out of here, and we'll just give it on there. 3 loads, we're good. And when I start getting the coal train running between the colliery and Pittsburgh and the steel mill, I'll most likely build a sidetrack for it in case I start doing some hefty runs between Charleston and Pittsburgh itself. Now, checking in on Chicago, we have plenty of food now available here. This is a good thing. So, let's build that spur track that I was thinking about earlier. I can't... rephrase. When I have the money, let's build that spur track that I was talking about. Lafayette is going to take advantage of the food, and one of these two is going to connect to Chicago very soon. I think it's going to be J. Pierpont Morgan spurring off here and going into Chicago. He can do it, but I'm going to hate him for it. Now let's check a look at the victory screen again. So we need the steel mill, and I'm probably going to start saving up for that now so I can afford it. And then we need to start moving food to Toronto and Detroit. I'm not really worried about Cincinnati just yet, because I want to actually clear a way for me to get to Cincinnati. I can do a spur line off of this, or I can take this line where the food's coming in and do a spur out that way toward it. Now we're going to get a $100,000 boost when we actually get the food, or get all the oil here. So we're going to get it right now. I want to sell both my stocks. That was stupid, actually. Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. Okay. Helpful if I can remember what the hell I'm actually doing in this game. I'm recording this on an evening. I've had some alcohol. Why not? So, what the reasoning is here is that your stock goes up when you complete these objectives. Okay, so we got one left, and my stock right now is at roughly $290,000 for 10% of my share. Keeping a very close eye on where everybody else is right now. Of course, because I don't want them impinging on my on where I'm rolling track. Now the lumber company, I can actually do. Oh, there we go. So company stock on the rise. I get $100,000 in cash right out of it, and now we're going to start seeing the money go up. Now I'm going to do this here. There's a reason that I wanted to hook that up, because Battle Creek has a demand for wood. Chicago has a demand for paper, so I can build another route between these cities. And this route's going to weave a little bit. We now have access to the 260 Mogul. And then I want to connect Detroit, and then kind of take this train right over this little section and go right up toward Toronto. Toronto does have a food plant, so I can use that advantage as well. My stock is now worth more than 300,000 per, so let's go ahead and sell some of that to make the money moves that I need to make. Alright. Now we've got some access for these other cities. Perfect. Not worried about hooking up Battle Creek just yet. I'm going to get there, though. It's unfortunate, but I think this thing wants to make me build a bridge, and I really don't want to. There we go. And I'm going to double track this. Can't double track this just yet. Now I've got Toronto hooked up. Battle Creek needs wood. Hey! What do you know? Who did I just hook up? Battle Creek. I just sounded like Casey Kasem. That was not Casey Kasem. That was an atrocious attempt to comment. Alright. Letter volume increases, so mail prices are going to start going up for this as well. Let's go ahead and do... Go ahead and put an annex down here. Now, let's start working on that goal that was being talked about. I'll keep the food cars on them, even though it's not really going to do me much. JP Morgan is in a good spot for a buyout. This is an absolute disaster, and my OCD is kind of twinging a little bit on this one. Lafayette is very popular. Look at what is happening with this train right now. How the graphics in this just bend themselves out of proportion to make it work. My OCD in this game makes me kind of feel I have to correct this problem in the game. Look at this. And I'll grab 3 carloads of this. 3 carloads of the material goods. I need to buy both of these factories, believe it or not. With how things are going, and with the steel mill that I want to build here, I need to build that too. I need to build the food with the stockyard in Cleveland. There's a lot of things that I need to build. Alright, my 260 Mogul is slowly weaving its way through the southern part of Michigan. I'm just wondering who is going to try to connect to Chicago first. And when they do, how much am I going to make them pain? So I've got... right, taking a look over at the right side of the screen at what we have stock-wise. I've got the highest value of everybody by almost double. Jim Hill is running about 2.5 mil. I'm at 4.4 mil. You are going to get upgraded to a Mogul because there's no way in hell a 460 American or a 440 American is able to do that job. Alright. What I'm going to do before I wrap up this video is I'm going to hook up Pittsburgh with that steel mill. Then we're going to start creating this nice little route where we're taking steel into Pittsburgh. We're taking the steel to Charleston to create the automobiles, and we're running that essentially to the first place that needs automobiles. Right now, it is Detroit. Detroit needs the... I've realized I've made a mistake. I have not hooked this up properly. Alright, I want to make this work. I want to do 2 birds with 1 stone. I love the idea of taking stuff down to Charleston to make it happy. But at the same time, what I can do is hook up Pittsburgh and Detroit directly. It'll cost me a cool $1 million to get done. And this route alone will cost me 300,000. So this is going to put me on the back burner a little bit. Get another thing here. So let's go ahead and build my steel mill. Alright, so let's put a pause in here, because I'm going to put a cut here in here in a moment. So I've got the steel mill going. Now I got to move 25 carloads of steel. But Detroit needs an automobile factory. If I can do both of these at the same time, it's perfect. Because then I'm producing cars in Detroit, and I'm shipping them to a city that needs them. It could be Chicago for the time being, but in-game, it needs to go to Indianapolis for the Indy 500. In the next video, my plan is this. We start buying these people. We start buying these folks out. We start maneuvering. And I start maneuvering myself to be in the position to dominate the marketplace. I get rid of them. I'll hook up Indianapolis. I'll probably have to do like a little fancy, swiggly train, just a lot of switch yards through Fort Wayne to make it happen. But we'll hook it up and we'll get everything else done. For now, though, Charleston, it's producing manufactured goods, which is nice. This oil company is going to get bigger. The Charleston colliery is going to grow to a large size because they absolutely plan to make it much, much bigger than it is right now. Go ahead and I'm going to actually double up the track through that section. All right, we'll hit play just to let the graphics go a little bit on that. There we go. Now I'm going to put a cut in here. I think I'm off to a good start. Let me know what you think I should be doing in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the videos that come out on my channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.